this journey, we plan to reach the Snowy River in eastern Victoria, visit the McKillops Bridge, and return to the coast over the mountains via the scenic Deddick Trail. Another reason for this trip was to try out some tyre inflation equipment. This hardware has been used in the trucking industry for years, but we've fitted a new system to the van that's intended for four-wheel drive use. We can change our pressures on the road and it will let us know if any of the tyres have problems. I'm keen to see how it works under tough road conditions. Once it reaches its pressure target, it stays within a 2 psi band of what was selected on the display. McKillops Bridge was built back in 1936. At the time it was the largest welded bridge in Australia. You may wonder why the bridge was built so high, but the Snowy River has a history of huge floods, as can be seen in this picture taken back in 1971. Our first stop was on a beach area a little upstream from the bridge. It was a quiet spot with a lot of bird life. Graham joined us for a few days at the first camp. He made sure we didn't go hungry.
Come and get it.
We had to be careful where we walked as there were a lot of ants in the area. Once we reached the gravel roads, taking the tyre pressure down to 25 psi did make travel more comfortable and seemed to improve grip on the road as well. While it's often hard to see, there's a fair amount of wildlife in the area to have a look at. When we left the main road to enter the northern end of the Deddick Trail, the track conditions quickly became hard work. On some of the more rugged sections, there was concern that the air hoses to the wheels would catch on rocks and branches, but that never happened. The airlines were really tough and never had any problems. This was a really steep section. 25 psi and the tyres were still too high. The wheels would lose traction and spin. We had to carefully back off to a safe part of the track, then try again under the lower pressure.
We'll have to take it down to low range. It's slipping too much on this.
We took the tyres to the lower 15 psi setting and it made a huge difference to traction. It allowed us to keep going over the same terrain that had stopped us just minutes before. As we drove further into the clouds, the drizzle became steady and the sable-like surface of the track stopped us from reaching the top of the range. We attached the safety strap to the front of the van, then used a hand winch to bring it to a level spot. The rear wheel had fallen into a hole, and this complicated things. Even with a 20-to-1 reduction on the hand winch, the dead weight of the fully laden vehicle made it very hard work.
Are we having fun yet? No, I've kind of passed that stage. I'm looking forward to the beer now. We got the car out of the bog, but while we were doing it, the track was so slippery that we can't take the last leg up to the top of the hill. We were very close, only a few hundred metres off the summit, and we would have been home free, but it's just a bit too slippery and a bit late in the day. So that's where we're leaving the van tonight, and we're carrying our camping gear up a few hundred metres up there, and we'll try again in the morning. Yeah, this is really steep. The following morning, after a damp night, we're waiting for the track to dry out so we can try and get the car up the hill. So back at the top of the hill, and we've managed to get the van up, which is a good thing. It's been a really wet day, but it dried out just enough for us to claw our way up the hill in first gear low, with the tyre pressures right down, the only thing that got us through. Still got all the straps on the front of the van.
A few hours later, we heard some engines revving in the distance, and 3 four-wheel drives were approaching. They got stuck just below where we'd been. It took them a few hours, but they were able to winch themselves to the top of the hill.
Oh, it's pulling him sideways. It looks like he's running full highway road pressure on the tyres, and they're just spinning. But he's gotten past that hole that we had to dig out. Oh, they're definitely getting closer. Here he comes. second day on the mountain and the sun is finally breaking through. A lot of cloud below us. Ready to go? That's it. Won't be coming back here for a while. Not too bad along here. We're over the worst. Still running low tyre pressures.
We were able to stay in HF radio contact with Graham, even though now he was more than 250 kilometres away.
Okay, put your motor on gently, slowly. Pick your best way home and take it easy. You probably, when you get to Orbost, you'll be in mobile phone range all the way, so I don't know if you wish to have another sked. Probably best to keep motoring as best you can there, over.
Yeah, Roger. No, I'll probably stop for a cup of coffee and then we'll take off. VK3BXG, VK3BUF.
We were now getting close to the south end of the trail, where we'd link up with a secondary road that would eventually take us to Orbost, the nearest town.
Well, that's it, the end of the trail. One of the longest but most scenic paths that there are in Victorian countryside. But we got through in one piece okay, and from here to Orbost it's pretty much straightforward. So that's it.